This is your teacher, Sir Alex, the ambassador. And today I take this chance to welcome you to our lessons. I had promised most of you that every day at 2 p.m. we are going to be having lessons on chemistry and physics from 2 to 4. I've not managed to do so for the last 4 days because of some 1 to 3. But what I'm doing right now, I'm recovering for yesterday's topic or lesson, so that today again at 2 I will be having another lesson, but now for physics. Today I want to deal with chemistry, and I'm going to move systematically. I'm going to move systematically from up to the one that God will allow us to do before the end of the holiday. Whether you are in Form 1, Form 2, or Form 3, follow with me. So there are very many topics actually which we are going to study, but we are starting with introduction to chemistry. But in the meantime, allow me to open on something. There's something I want to check on, as then we will proceed. For those who are on, you will tell me where you're watching me from. Even those who will watch later on, you will tell me where you're watching me from. Whether in Kenya or not. Chemistry. Okay, so you just, and I will be happy that we are together. But most of you are those people who watch later on. So now, let me go back to what I wanted to discuss today. I want to talk about introduction to chemistry. This is the one that will link the primary science to the high school science. In high school, we have 3 sciences. That is, we have the main science, which is physics. We have chemistry, then we have biology. So the primary science that you know are split into these 3. So for me, I'm a specialist in the first 2, physics and chemistry. Biology, I would have somebody else who will help me work on them. Now, let me go to chemistry. Let me remain in chemistry now. And I want to talk about something small. Today, we are going to check on the following. What is chemistry? That's the first thing. What is chemistry? Properties of matter and matter itself, mixtures, conductors and non-conductors, drugs and drug abuse and drug misuse, and anything about drugs. We are also going to see about the role of chemistry in the society. We will check on the apparatus of apparatus used in chemistry. We will also be looking at the sources of it in the laboratory. We will be looking at the main apparatus known as the Bunsen burner. We shall be looking at it here today or tomorrow if the time will allow us. Then we shall look at the safety in the laboratory. Now, then we look at some few revision questions here and there. So what is your objective as a learner? I'm giving you objectives that by the end of this lesson, you should be able to define the term chemistry. You should be able to identify some of the topics you studied in primary. By the way, I don't know which primary were you. You can tell us there. We'll go some primary. Now, some of the topics you studied under science, which can now be discussed under chemistry, we need to know them. We will also have to, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to know the roles of the chemistry in the society. Yes. And then, for example, manufacture of soaps. That's just one of them. That is the role of the chemistry in our society. Identify apparatus and their uses in the lab. And you should also be able to operate a Bunsen burner. Right now, almost every school in the lab they have a Bunsen burner. But during our time, it was only selected schools that had such sophisticated apparatus. Then we will be looking at the safety in the laboratory, so you should be able to name or mention various laboratory rules. Now, let us start here. I want to start by talking about chemistry itself. So what's chemistry? I want you to say this, that it is the study of structure, properties and composition of matter and the changes that matter undergoes. Apart from studying, you study the structure, the properties and composition, then the changes that it undergoes, all about matter. That's why later on we will talk about chemical equations or reactions. Those are the changes that matter undergoes. For example, you take sugar or salt, which is solid, when you put in water, it dissolves. That's what we call it chemistry. We are going to study about such changes that any matter undergoes. If we heat, or if we apply some heat to a wax, it will change state to liquid. That is some of the changes that we are going to study. So today, let's look at the branches of chemistry. Branches of chemistry. Let's look at the. In the meantime, before I give you the branches of chemistry, what are some of the branches of chemistry? Anybody who knows? Towards here. I know you have stated, you have mentioned. Now, let me give you the branches of chemistry. Uniambie kama imeshikana na zako ama kuna moja imeshikana na zako. So ndaanza kwanza hivi. We have organic chemistry. We have two inorganic chemistry. Number 3, analytical chemistry. Some of you will be studying about analytical chemistry. Then we have physical chemistry. We have physical chemistry. Then, lastly, I know maybe it's called biochemistry. So these are the various branches of chemistry. Organic, physical chemistry, and biochemistry. Those are the branches. We are going. Each topic will be falling under a certain branch. Each topic will be falling under a certain branch. Review some of the topics that we studied in primary. Kuna zile vitu tulisoma, we want to link between the primary science and the high school science, chemistry, physics, and biology. Now, there are some things you studied in primary. Still, it can be found in physics. That is matter. Let me start with matter. We define matter and we give various properties of matter. Matter is anything that has matter. Meaning has not changed. It still remains as the one we gave you in primary. It is anything that has space. It exists in 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. Gas can be also. They change their states when a factor is changed. Let me ask you a question. Which factor is that? A question. The condition is temperature. If you find the temperature, automatically the changes of state will take place. How? If you heat a solid, it will change to liquid. If you heat a liquid, it will change to a gas. If you cool a gas, it changes to a liquid. And if you cool a liquid, it changes to a solid. The process of change from solid to liquid, melting. Liquid to gas, evaporation. From gas back to liquid, condensation, and from liquid to solid, you can call it solidification, or you can give it a name known as freezing. Freezing and melting takes the same temperature. For example, if I'm dealing with a water can exist in 3 forms: ice, liquid water. Now, The temperature at which water changes to ice when people heated, which is 0 degrees Celsius. Let's look at the states of matter. 12 are solid. We could base as solids, 20 are liquids, then we look at the ones for the gas. Now, first of all, okay, there are 3 things that we're supposed to talk about: the shape, the mass, and the volume. Now, for a solid, it has all the 3. It has a definite shape, it has a definite mass, and a definite volume. Meaning, you can measure the mass of a solid, you can measure the volume of a solid, and it can also take the shape of, it doesn't take the shape of the container, it is a fixed. Number 2, its mass can easily be measured, and of course, tukiongelea shape, it is opposite to that of water, because when you pour water in a container, it takes the shape of the container. In solid, it does not, it has a definite or a fixed shape. How do we define mass? This is the amount of matter in a substance. Then volume actually is the space occupied by a substance. That is volume. Now, different sizes. Okay, a matter may be of the same mass but of different volumes. A matter, 10 kilograms, ingine 10 kilograms, but when you, the factor here is density. If you have cotton 10 kilograms and you have sand 10 kilograms, sand will be very small in volume, but the cotton will be very big. Why? They have different densities. So let's look at the liquid. Sinimesema kwa solids, the 3 are definite: mass, volume, and shape. Now in liquids, they have definite mass and volume, but indefinite shape. They take the shape of the container. In gases, they only have mass. The rest do not apply. You can get the mass of a gas. Someone is asking how. Let me take you back to primary kidogo. Ukiwekewa balloon, if we deflate one of the balloons, if we try to deflate, then we inflate this, then it's going to behave this way. Why? Because the air inside here has mass. That's what we mean by air and gas has mass. So that's about matter. We shall be looking much more about it. The other thing I want to review in a few minutes is what we call mixtures. It's something we learned in primary, but we will still learn in large or in depth in our second topic of classification of simple classification of substances, which will come after this actually. So when we talk about mixtures, when you take pins and maize and you put them together, we call them a mixture, because they are not from the same substance. They are different. Ato ukiangalia, they are different. Before upike githeri, you know what you are supposed to do. You mix the two. But kuna various formulas ya kupika githeri, and I've seen them. Kuna wale wana mix safari moja, wanaweka moto, wanaanza kuiweka moto iive. Na kuna wale kwanza wanapika mahindi kwanza iive, because mahindi inakuanga na kazi ngumu kuiva, then baadaye maharagwe inaingilia katikati. In case one day you decide you want to cook githeri, chukua mahindi, beans, you put them together. That's a mixture. Then your mom afike aseme hapa ni kwangu, mimi ndio naamua whatever we are going to cook. So umepika saa hii githeri, umesema unataka kupika, hapana, Mimi niwekee mahindi yako kando, niwekee maharagwe kando. So you will start to sit down and apply hand picking. You separate them. It's a mixture. Now, mixture can be made of two substances like maize and beans, or several. They can be actually be made of several things. But now, we will not discuss about various types of mixture, because after this topic we shall be talking about mixtures in depth, and we shall be discussing how to separate them very well. So it is all which we shall discuss. But mixtures is one of the topics I wanted us to review, to explain to you that you learned in primary and we are still learning it here. The other thing that you learned in primary and I would like, we still able to learn here is conductors and non-conductors. Substances which allow current to pass through are called conductors. The ones which do not allow current or heat to pass through are called non-conductors. The other name for non-conductors, we call them insulators. Now, another thing that I would like us to review is the drugs and drug abuse. So that's where we are going to discuss today. There are very many things: drug misuse, overdose, underdose, prescriptions, all these. Or theater, you've gone to hospital. By the way, still at home, don't go to hospital. Like, for example, immunization schedule, you are not sick, but it was necessary for you to be in hospital. But I'm quite sure, even right now, you can go home. So after this, I need to go and see a doctor. Now, all these, we are going to interact with them. A doctor will tell you take medicine 2 times 3. 1 times 3. Mwingine atakwambia 3 times 1. Mwalimu wako wa hesabu atakwambia 1 times 3 is same as 3 times 1. But if you dare, daktari akwambie go and take these tablets 1 times 3, meaning 1 in the morning, 1 at noon time, and 1 in the evening. Then you want to come and challenge the doctor because your mathematics teacher told you 3 times 1 and 1 times 3 are the same. You can more to take medicines 3 times 1. 3 times 1 means you take the 3 at the same time. You will know 1 times 3 is not the same as 3 times 1. Anyway, what's a drug? The definition of a drug is very simple, but in most cases my students fail to add a certain word. Whenever you are starting to define the drug, it should be any substance, natural or manufactured. Usipoanza hivyo, in fact, whoever is marking your work will stop marking from there. Any substance, natural or manufactured, which, when taken into the body, alters the normal body functions. And anything that when you take, for example, Piriton, when you take Piriton, it will induce some sleep to you. It has altered the normal body functions, and therefore it is a drug. And it can be manufactured or natural. There are things there in the forest, I don't know, which are not manufactured, but when you take them, it alters your normal body functions. So that's how to define a drug. Any substance, natural or manufactured, which when taken alters the normal body functions. Drugs can be used to treat diseases in human and other animals like goats. We call them medicines. If a drug is being used to treat a disease in a human body, we call them a medicine. And now listen here, I want to define the data. Ya kwanza tumesema ni drug, ya pili ni medicine. Medicine, these are drugs used to treat what? Diseases. They are also called curatives. Now, medicines are administered in a certain amount known as doses. ama dosage. Dose ama dosage. Ile unaambiwa meza 2 mara 3. Meza moja na unaambiwa make sure umekula kwanza. So what's a dose? Dose is the amount of medicine to be taken at a given time under a given prescriptions. Good. Now, kuna kitu inaitwa prescription. Prescription, I wish, okay, sina hili packet ya dawa ningekuonyesha. Prescriptions imeandikwa how medicine should be taken. So what's prescriptions? These are written instructions by a qualified medical officer. Now, ukiachana na the word qualified medical officer, you will be wrong because you cannot go to the streets. Ufika tu kwa streets, waanza kusema ati kuna mtu amekudescribea dawa. No, it should be a qualified medical officer giving details on how or on the type of drugs and how the drug should be taken or administered. Kuna hilo naambiwa usikunywe maziwa, usikunywe pombe. Yes, such ones. Now kuna kitu inaitwa drug abuse and drug misuse. Most people confuse the two, but today I want us to clear the hair on the same. If you use the drug for other purpose other than the one intended for, you know, when a drug is being manufactured, iko na kazi yake. If you use the drug for other purpose, that is a drug abuse. It looks like drug misuse, but no, it's drug abuse. Overdose or underdose of drugs is what we are calling a drug misuse. If you take overdose or underdose, drug misuse. Yes. Now, I want us to give examples of drugs that we know. There are very many, but we just give a few of them. We have miraa. Si mnajua wale watu wanakuanga nayo. We have miraa, we have tobacco, we have alcohol, we have bang. The other name for miraa is called cat. And very many others, kina cocaine, kina mandrax. There are those which are allowed in Kenya. I'm not saying now because it's allowed. No. There are those which are allowed. In fact, we have family members, we have friends. Ukipatana na mtu akikunywa pombe hakunanga shida, si ati okay kushtuange sana, lakini ukipatana na mtu akivuta bangi, kwanza lazima hata I know watu wengi wanafanya hivyo, lakini unajua why it is illegal. I will tell you why bangi is illegal. I will tell you why mandrax is illegal, why cocaine is illegal, and I will tell you why alcohol and tobacco are not illegal, they are being allowed. Kuna kitu inaitwa hard drugs and soft drugs. The ones I've mentioned as illegal are said to be hard drugs. Bang is a very hard drug. When it gets to the bloodstream, it will not get out of it easily. In fact, it has adverse effects. Number 2, cocaine, mandrax, those are hard drugs, not allowed. Alcohol, tobacco are soft drugs. Now, there are various effects of drugs. One, we have what we call long-term effects and short-term effects. Now, long-term effects of drugs, so some of them when mentioning, please, you accompany the drug that causes it. For example, if I say liver cirrhosis, alcohol, and somebody can ask you, which drug? Some of the long-term effects of drugs, mental disorders, it affects you mentally. Addiction, truancy, hallucinations, but some of them are also short-term, like drowsiness, staggering, stammering. All of them are short-term effects. So when someone takes alcohol, akitembea anaona stairs, So yeye anajaribu kuteremka kwa stair Kenya hakuna. That's why that person staggers. Anatembea unashangaa, what's wrong with this? Hiyo ni short term effects. So we have long term and short term. Be able to classify the effects of drugs as long term effects and short term effects. Let me ask you, which drug causes vascular disorders? That's a question I'm asking you. Which drug causes vascular disorders? Put your answer pale kwa comment box. Which drug causes vascular disorders? Now, let's look at this. Let's look at the roles of the chemistry in the society. Roles of chemistry. After we have studied chemistry, because we are going to study chemistry all through, does it have any important role in the society? And the answer is yes. It has a lot of. So that's where we are studying today, and we will end there because it was just with me at 2 p.m. But now let's look at some of the roles of chemistry in the society. Laboratory, everything there is called a chemical, including the salt. We call it a chemical. Even water, we call it a chemical there in the lab. Now, first of all, chemistry is a subject. Like, personally, I'm a teacher. Why? Because I studied chemistry in high school. So I, such as, education, technology, food technology, pharmacy, engineering, and many others. Now, in the society, the following are the importance or roles of chemistry: manufacture of drugs to fight diseases, food production to fight hunger, manufacture of cheaper alternative fabrics such as nylon, polyester, and tetron. You will check on them. Then it can also be used to manufacture plastics, that's chemistry, manufacture of detergents, sabuni, and production of fuels for transport and domestic uses. Those are the importance of chemistry in society. Let me give you the following questions so that you can answer. If you have followed my lesson all through, you can check on the following questions. Number one, define the term chemistry. Define the term chemistry. Number two, what role does chemistry play in the society? The one I've just mentioned, what role does chemistry play in the society? Number two, what's a drug? Define the term drug. Number four, name 3 frequently abused drugs. Don't just name 3, name several. Another one, state 2 long-term effects of drug abuse. State 2 long-term effects of drug abuse. Alongside, you can state the short-term effects of drugs. Differentiate between a dose and a prescription. Yes, I think we mentioned that one. Differentiate between a dose and a prescription. Number 3, name 4 career opportunities to chemist, to a chemistry person, to somebody who has studied chemistry. What are the career opportunities? So let's meet in the afternoon for physics, and tomorrow for chemistry. Tomorrow we shall be starting from what we call the chemistry laboratory. Then we clear the topic as we are moving on. We will be moving slowly by slowly, but ensure that you move with me systematically. Otherwise, for those who are new to my channel, I welcome you. Feel free. There are many other topics that I've taught in this channel, Ambassador Foundation. Keep on scrolling, keep on learning. And if you have not subscribed, that's my payments from you. I'm teaching you. You pay me through subscribing and sharing to all high school students. Have a nice day.